You ready? Because we are literally live right now. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining me on a 9 a.m. on a UK Saturday morning. Really appreciate that. We are currently live in Thailand. It's 3 p.m. here. The backdrop behind me is not a green screen. It looks cloudy, and it is quite cloudy, but it's a beautiful weather. Today we're going to go through the property clinic. Now, my wife asked me this morning, why do you call it a property clinic? The reason is because we are going to be diagnosing what is happening in the UK property market. And obviously, treatment is better than cure. So hopefully, I can give you some pointers and some tips today after today's clinic on how to set up structurally. And it's more like a health check if you're already investing in property. Maybe you're a beginner, maybe you're already investing. But it's like going to the dentist, making sure that you're keeping up with the new rules, new regulations, because there is currently a lot happening in UK property right now. So what I will do is first and foremost introduce the fact that we are live. We have 3 cameras. Grisha, you are on the cameras. We have camera number 1, which is pointing directly at me. We have camera number 2 over here, and then we have camera number 3, which will be used for pen and paper explanations, because like inside the JPU, if I can explain property, which is sometimes overcomplicated, on paper, it means I'm doing my job correctly. And you may have also met Greg, or as I call him, Grisha, because he has been learning property investments and he's been showing up on some of our content also. So a lot of bullet points to understand whether the property clinic is for you. But first and foremost, I want to make sure that it's firstly interesting, entertaining, but also educational for you guys to learn something by the end of this. And we will cover quite a lot. Whether you just want to know what the heck is happening in property, whether you're a beginner, whether you're a seasoned investor, maybe you have a couple of buy-to-lets or HMOs and you're looking towards a new strategy with all these compliance changes, or whether you're buying your own home, because we have our new legal process coming in for the home buying aspect, which the government introduced on the 19th of June. So we'll go through those timelines. You can also get in touch through our Q&A at the end. You can do that, and I will stay behind for about 15 minutes to answer all of your questions. In the meantime, my team will also be asking you to, we'll be replying to any questions that you have. So, getting into the first aspect of today's clinic. First and foremost, an introduction. Some of you I know may have never met me before. I'm James and I do live in Thailand. We moved here about 2 years ago. I live here with my beautiful wife Kush, my son Roman, my wife gave birth to in Koh Samui, and we have our 2 dogs here. First of all, we flew Cookie. He was from Manchester. Flew him all the way across to Thailand. He had a better seat than I did on the plane. And then we recently added Woody to our family. We bought him from a supermarket in the car park, actually. But he's originally from Chiang Mai, which is in the north of Thailand. And he's a beautiful golden retriever. Cookie, on the other hand, is an energetic Cocker Spaniel. Plus, our amazing team is also out here. I should say 60% of our team is out here. We have an amazing team back home. They're coming out a bit later on. But for now, we have Kate, Grisha, and Alex here joining us, and my wife on the right-hand side. And we had a dinner last week on an island called Koh Tan, and it's just south of Koh Samui. If you've never been to Thailand before, please put it on your bucket list to visit. At 19, this is where I started, so to give you experience before I dive into all of the educational stuff to help you. You don't think that you're just going to be learning from someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. I've been doing this since I was 19. I'm now 31. I have a portfolio of HMOs, Airbnb, social housing, flips. I've done quite a lot in property, so I want to give you the confidence that I actually know what I'm talking about. And I now invest in a very different way to the way I used to invest. The top left-hand side corner, you'll see that I'm tiling a shower enclosure. I no longer do that. I'm more like the guy on the right-hand side with my laptop sitting by a beautiful pool that's still working incredibly hard. I also help others to do the same. So the bottom 2 photos you'll see are of my students. We've got Leighton and Gavin and Liam, who gifted me a JPU property investment shirt. Something you probably didn't know about me is that me and my wife, Kush, We lived on our first HMO property together. We celebrated Christmas there. We refurbished the property from a 4-bedroom family house into a 5-bedroom house share because it was 5 minutes away from the university. This property is still in my portfolio today, and this is kind of what we lived like. You've got like the fourth image on the top from the right. That's our bed covered in Screwfix tools and tool station cables, etc. And then as you go directly below that, and then bottom 2 pictures in, that's what the rest of the house looked like. That was the downstairs kitchen where we lived. So we could only renovate the first bedroom. We put a kitchenette in there. We put a microwave built in ensuite. So we lived in there like a little studio flat. And then we renovated the rest of the house. And on the far right, you can see that I was still curious about helping others. In this case, I was teaching my wife how to invest in UK property. A reminder, today is the launch for the James Property University. If you use the code CLINIC20, you'll get 20% off your membership plus a bonus for joining today, which is our mini course, our Renters' Rights Act course, which will give you in-depth lessons plus a social housing bonus because that strategy is exempt from the Renters' Rights Act, and done for you legal templates to make sure that you are compliant heading into or continuing into 2026. So let's get into the main part of the first chapter of today's property clinic. The first thing you may have seen, I've posted about this recently. Before Keir Starmer quit and he left, he did introduce, or he's proposing to introduce, a new house buying process. So this appeals to anybody watching today who's either going into property investing or they're looking to buy their own home. It will affect you. And I've read every single document, and you can too, on the home buying and selling reform roadmap to make sure that you're updated with the upcoming changes. But actually, you don't need to read it because I've done it for you. So the 5 key reforms. By the way, there's a lot of reforms happening, things to do with leaseholds, but these are the main ones that are happening. And finally, this is something that we've been calling for forever, literally forever. I don't know why we haven't done this already. Number 1, the sales pack is now prepared before the listing, which means there's no nasty surprises from buyers like me and you who buy a property, they tell you they've got the planning permission, they tell you you've got the building regulations, they've done, you then go and do the survey, and then you get 3 months down the line after you've paid mortgage fees, solicitors fees, arrangement fees, and you're out of pocket. Now they're doing something what Scotland has been doing for years, where they're actually preparing a sales pack before the listing. Included in this sales pack, if I just scroll to the government's website, you can go to Annex B. This document is called the Roadmap for the House Buying Process. They've included the documents that you would expect to see: the floor plan, the council tax band, the EPC rating, the property type, yada, yada, yada. But what they haven't included is things like what investors who are watching this, who want to get into HMOs, planning permission, has it got HMO licensing, and has it got a certificate of lawfulness? So those are the specific things that they haven't yet introduced, but perhaps they will once these reforms actually come into place, which I'll get onto in a second. Reforms 2 to 5. Number 2 out of the 5 is binding contracts earlier. So that means that in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland currently, we sign a binding contract too far down the line on exchange of contracts, which could be 3 months into the process when you've outlaid all the fees that I mentioned above. Now what they're looking to do is something what Scotland does, which is where you introduce that binding contract much earlier. And if you exit that binding contract, you have a penalty, which I think is good. It means that you're encouraging motivated sellers and motivated buyers. No fee structure has been introduced yet. But what they are looking to do, or what I would propose, is at least a 1% from each side. So if you're buying a £200,000 property, you put in £2,000, the seller puts in £2,000, that goes to the respective solicitors. And if you pull out for a reason that is not legal or just a good reason to pull out, those reasons could be, I've read on the government website, the reasons are serious illness, the chain falling through, it's not your fault, another chain that's happened above you, or death. So if you haven't done one of those 3 things, then you should give your £2,000 to the other side and vice versa. It will stop gazumping for sure because the seller then thinks twice. And just to put that in perspective, the Netherlands, who has one of the lowest fall through rates in Europe, they have one of the best house buying processes. They have a 10% penalty. So my 1% seems quite generous. The third reform is digital logbooks. Just like your car has an MOT, digital logbook, we're also looking to introduce in England a completely fully digitalized system. The Netherlands has this, Norway has this, Netherlands has something called the cadastre. If you're Dutch, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but it's an online register where the seller's solicitor can see what's happening, the buyer's solicitor can see what's happening, estate agents can see, buyers and sellers can see. So there's no more chasing solicitor, chasing email, estate agents who have a backlog from COVID-19. There's none of that anymore. You can literally see where you are in the process. Fourth reform, key reform, AI conveyancing. So currently in England, we have to do multiple AML checks. I know this because I have an estate agency. We have to do an AML check on the buyer, on their offer, an anti-money laundering check. The solicitor then does an AML check, and sometimes the sellers, the other side solicitor, also does an AML check. So there's 3 AML checks that are totally unnecessary. What they're looking to do with this new AI is just having everything in one place, doing it once, and that will cut out fraud, and it will also cut back the time and the process of it happening. The fifth thing is estate agent qualifications. Now, literally, in England right now, you could walk out of your job on a Friday and you could go and sell somebody's most valuable asset on a Monday. You do have to have some compliance and some AML regulations. I know this, like I said, I have an estate agency, but within reason, anybody can open up an estate agency. So the government is looking to incorporate what's called a code of practice. So something which actually qualifies an estate agency, which I think is good. However, we are talking about the UK government, who I don't like to talk about badly, but they sometimes deserve it. And when you have the timelines on this document, which you can go and read, you will be able to see they've got 3 phases: now, next, and future. Now is now, voluntary. It means that nothing's happening right now. Next is 2027 to 2028. They're talking or consulting about having sales packs, binding contracts, and agency qualifications introduced. But consultations doesn't mean mandatory. Future 2035 is when they are looking to introduce this digital system of having everybody understanding on what the process is, which is 9 years away. Now, they've already interviewed the public, and according to the government statistics, 82% of the public have said, yes, we want these reforms. The CEO of Rightmove has said that it's a great decision. The CEO of Zoopla has said this is a good decision. So I don't know why the government just doesn't get on with it, because some of these reforms are coming in, unfortunately, 9 years away, and that's something the headlines doesn't tell you. Just to give you some statistics, I found this quite interesting when I was preparing this. Scotland has a fall through rate, meaning that the sales will fall through within 1 in 12, 6 to 8 weeks completion. The Netherlands, 1 in 10, 4 to 8 weeks completion. Norway is the best by far, has a 1 in 20 fall through rate, 4 to 6 weeks completion. And England has a 1 in 4 fall through rate. So every 1 in 4 sales falls through, and we have an average completion of 17 weeks. And what I don't understand is that even though our European neighbours and Scotland already have this much better system in place for buying a house, if we actually take a look closer to home, we already have the auction process where we can complete in 28 days or 56 days, depending on the auction house. And the reason why we're able to do that is because we prepare something called a legal pack, so a sales pack, but a legal pack, and it has all of the documents that I mentioned previously. It already has that. We've bought at auction before for our own house, and we completed within 28 days because on the banging of the hammer, that's when the process starts. You literally exchange at that day because everything's up front, and that's why, if we're already doing it, why is it taking the government so long to put these reforms in place, potentially 9 years away? So Two numbers that you can either sit on the fence and listen to one of the numbers or listen to the other number. And I'll point out it says 2026, it's actually 2025. My apologies. 93,000 landlords left the market in 2025. If you listen to that, you probably won't want to invest in property. On the other hand, 50,000 homes were purchased by Lloyds Bank, the same bank who you probably have your mortgage with, by their company called Citra Living. And they have something called Modern Living for Britain's Renters. And if you think I'm joking, we literally have their website up here, Lloyds Living. And if you go to the filter section or find a home, you can filter only by rental prices. So 1 bed up to 4 beds, and it's only going up to £2,700 a month. If you then click find, this is all of their properties that they've bought and they're continuing to buy. So by 2030, they want to have 50,000 homes. And actually, we have something, if I go to camera 2, we have something on our desk, me and Grisha. It's a black rock, because they are the other ones who are also buying. They've invested £1 billion into the UK property market. So if it's good enough for them, why can't it be good enough for us? Well, it's because of a huge shake-up between the old landlord and the new generation of landlord. Now, the old landlord had it easy. They could get 100% to 125% mortgages. They could buy in their personal name and get instant access to that cash without paying any further dividend tax. They had it cushy, but now all of that's changed. And I'm going to go to our first breakdown by going to camera number 3, and we're going to look at section 24. Grisha, can you remove the banner so that everyone can see? Hopefully everyone can see my page now. Yep, so we've got section 24. This is the first policy change. Apologies if some of you already know this, but there are some beginners who definitely won't understand what section 24 is. I'm going to explain that. We have before section 24 and after section 24. And down the side, we have our rent, our mortgage expense, our actual profit, the eyes of the HMRC, what they see our profit, the tax to pay, and the net profit. So before section 24 was introduced, which stops landlords from deducting their mortgage as an allowable expense, you had £1,000 a month in rent, minus your just to keep numbers simple, minus your mortgage of £500, left you with an actual profit of £500. And before section 24, HMRC also recognised that your profit was £500. Therefore, you would pay tax at 42%. The reason why I'm saying 42% is because from April 2027, Rachel Reeves has increased the income tax thresholds from 40% as a higher rate taxpayer up to 42%. So I'm going to base it on the figures that are coming up in the near future. So our tax to pay was 42% of the profit if you're a high rate taxpayer, which is £210, leaving us with a net profit of £290. Our HMRC profit minus our tax is £290. However, in 2021, HMRC brought in section 24. They phased it in, but it was in full effect. And this is policy number 1 that was squeezed. This means now that after section 24 was introduced for landlords buying in their own name, everything stays the same. Rent £1,000 a month, minus your mortgage interest, minus your actual profit. However, because HMRC doesn't allow us to deduct our mortgage interest as an allowable expense, it means that they still see our rental income as their HMRC profit, which is scandalous because it means that landlords in their personal name are now paying tax on an income that they didn't even earn in the first place, because they're paying tax on £1,000 when they only earned £500. This means that we now need to pay 42% tax on £1,000, which is £420, minus a mortgage interest credit of 22%. That's what they're giving us. Thank you very much. Which means the mortgage interest credit of 22% of your 500 is £110. So you've got your 420 minus your 110, which means our tax to pay is £310 and our net profit now after Section 24 is £190. Now, that's £100 less than what you would pay before Section 24 was introduced. £100 a month. Might not sound a lot. Now, if you scale that to 12 months, sounds quite a lot. And then if you scale that across your portfolio, it will certainly squeeze out the old type of landlord, which is why if I add a third column here and I go to LTD, there's a reason now why 70% of buy-to-let purchases were bought inside a limited company. And it's because Section 24 does not apply in a limited company, which means HMRC still recognises your profit as £500. And inside a limited company, if you have profits up to £50,000, not revenue, profits, then you will pay 19% corporation tax, which is £95, and leaving you with a net profit of £405, which is more than double the amount in your personal name after Section 24 was introduced. Now, before I go any further, there are some savvy investors now there gruntling, saying, oh yes, but of course now you have to pay dividend tax. Of course, okay, understood. Because the profit belongs to the limited company. It doesn't belong to you anymore, as the previous landlord, the old landlord, had access to that money. This now belongs to your limited company, and you would have to pay dividend tax of 10.75% to get that out, a further tax. However, if you buy a property, let's say you loan your company £100,000, that's what's called a director's loan account. And that sits on your LTD company, and you can repay yourself that £100,000 at any time, tax-free. In fact, you could even charge interest on it. So for example, let's say you loan yourself £100,000, you charge yourself the market rate of 5%, you could charge your company £5,000, which would reduce the tax in your limited company. However, there would be a tax liability in your personal name. So I don't do that, but some investors do. There's pros and cons. You could also, as we talk about in the James Property University, you could also set up what's called a group structure or a holding company. So let's say you've got a holding company here. You might have a trading company here. That could be, I don't know, if you're an electrician, you could be a plumber, you could be a dentist, doesn't really matter. And then you've got your two property companies here, SPV2, special purpose vehicles, which means that you're only investing in property, and I'll get onto that in a second. Now, what I've got, and I'm telling you what you can do, but you don't have to do this yet. You can always set up the holding company later. Let's say that your SPV2 made a profit, a huge profit, but all these two made a loss. Your trading company made a loss, blah, blah, blah. What you can do is you can transfer these losses into the company that made a profit because it's part of the same holding company structure, which means it's called group loss relief. And it also means that if you wanted to go one step further, you could set up an FIC, a family investment company, which is about trusts and something that we discuss as an advanced structure inside the JPU. Now, if you are setting up a limited company, you need to make sure you've got the SIC codes either 68209 or 68100. These are the most common. You can choose others. The reason why we need these SIC codes, and we don't want to make sure that we're mixing trading activity, the only thing going through the SPV1 and the SPV2 is rental income, and the only expenses that you need to go through these companies are your management costs, your maintenance and repairs, your utilities and your bills, and your mortgage. That's the only thing that lenders want to see. They do not want to see trading activity going through SPVs. So keep them separate, and that's why the holding company can be quite useful. The next question, the most common question, frequently asked question I get asked is, can I get a limited company inside a mortgage if it's a new company? Do I need to have 2 to 3 years of accounts like you would if you were a self-employed individual? The short answer is no. When you buy a property inside a limited company, the mortgage lender realizes that that is set up for a business. Therefore, they will not scrutinize you as individually as they would if you were buying your own home. So they're not going to go on your personal affordability, your income and your expenses. They're going to look more at what that property earns, what the rental income is. And they do it on what's called a stress test. So you can go up now and take a property off the shelf, limited company, go and get a property. The lender will send out a valuer. They will assess the value of that property and how much rent it will achieve. And they will give you a mortgage based on that property. So it's much easier for you to get a mortgage inside a limited company. And you can go to James Property Mortgages, my finance business, which has buy-to-let lending, HMO lending, portfolio lending, and bridging finance. We can help you. Policy number 2. So policy number 1, section 24. Remember, we're talking about old landlord versus new landlord and why 93,000 landlords left the market. Policy squeeze number 2 makes it even more upsetting for landlords. Making tax digital. Introduced this April 2026. If you earn revenue, £50,000 in revenue, not profit, £50,000 in revenue, turnover. If you earn that in the year, you will have to register for Making Tax Digital. That could be a combination of your rental income and your self-employment income. That drops to 30,000 in April 2027 and 20,000 in April 2028. Making Tax Digital means that landlords who buy properties in their personal name, not limited companies, that's exempt, they need to register for Making Tax Digital, which is quarterly filings like VAT, plus your self-assessment at the end of January, which means more admin, more compliance, and more costs. By the way, we're streaming on Instagram also. If you want to be on, if you want to join, you need to make sure you go to jamesproperty.io/clinic to actually see what's going on here. Policy squeeze number 3, the +2 percentage point rise, which Rachel Reeves brought in late last year in 2025. She hasn't done this for self-employment income, so you still pay 20% for a basic rate, 40% for a higher rate, and 45% for additional rate. But on your property income, your dividend income, and your savings income, they now increase the percentage points by 2. So basic rate went from 20% to 22, higher from 40 to 42, and additional from 45 to 47. Again, it doesn't affect you inside a limited company because you'll pay corporation tax. So now you know why, hopefully, when you see the headlines, 93,000 landlords are leaving, don't listen to them. Come and listen to me instead, because I know what I'm talking about. It means that they're talking about section 24 for the old landlord, Making Tax Digital, +2 percentage points, and a poor strategy, which I'll get onto in a second. The new landlord, limited companies, BlackRock, Lloyds Bank, Citra Living, they have no section 24, no Making Tax Digital, no +2 percentage points in tax, and they have a better strategy choice. And I believe that the Renters' Rights Act that came into effect on the 1st of May 2026 was the final straw for investors. And I keep this on my desk. This is the what's happening before Renters' Rights Act. It's also on the screen here. You can see the presentation. Basically, what we have here is I'm not going to go into too much detail about the Renters' Rights Act because it is inside our mini course. But essentially, before the 1st of May, you could have the fixed 6 to 12 month contract. You could sign a tenant in for 6 to 12 months. Now you can't do that anymore. It's now rolling and tenants can give just 2 months notice. Section 21 has been abolished. You can no longer ring up your tenant and say, hey, I want my property back. Can you evict? Now you need to give a legal ground, which is Section 8. Overbids accepted. That means that landlords, if you were advertising your property for £500 a month in rent, you can no longer accept £600 a month because you will be fined £40,000 by the council. And just to give you an idea, the council has an incentive to fine you because they keep the penalty. So if they fine you £40,000, 7,000 for the first problem, 40,000 for continual problems, they get to keep that. And councils are bankrupt, so they will probably need it. You can no longer increase the rent anymore as and when you liked before. So within reason, before the 1st of May, you could set something in your tenancy contract, like a clause that would say on the 3rd of January, I will increase my rental by 3%. You can no longer do that. Now you have to do it once per year or from the last 52 weeks of since you last increased the rent. And tenants can actually challenge this at a tribunal, so you're not guaranteed to get it. And they don't, if they do challenge it at a tribunal, it can actually take up to 19 weeks for them to get a decision, and the rental income can't increase until you've had a decision from the tribunal. So final one is no kids, no pets, no benefits. Now you must state on your listing that you consider pets, kids, and people on universal credit. You can no longer say working professionals only. Now you, because the single mother with the child could say that you're discriminating, they could report that to the council. And even if you weren't discriminating, even the act of thinking that they thought you were discriminating could actually put you in a very difficult situation, and they can penalize you for that. So this goes away. Make sure you join the JPU today and you will get access to the mini course. Make sure understanding how to stay compliant. So guys, moving on to the next pen and paper example. I told you at the beginning of this clinic that if I can't teach you something on pen and paper, I'm not doing my job right. And I want to talk to you about why the old landlord is choosing poor strategies versus the new landlord who is now going for different strategies. We've got 4 houses here on the paper. And you'll be able to see the first strategy is going to be by a family. So we've got mum, dad, baby, and this is our normal buy-to-let property. And in my region, just to keep numbers simple, in Hull, where I invest, probably a touch more than this, but we're going to get about £500 a month in rental income. The next strategy is where you take the same property and you split it into 2 individual rooms. This is going to have typically a working professional or a student. These work well in places where you've got universities and hospitals. And this is going to be called something called a hybrid buy-to-let. And this is something that we coined at the James Property University, because I was sitting outside in the garden in York and I said to Kush, there's a strategy that we already do, a place called Leonard's Avenue, it's one of my houses in Beech Grove, where we have not a HMO, which is 3 or more unrelated occupants, but we have 2 unrelated occupants. So it's not a HMO and it's not a studio apartment. So I was like, we need to call it something. It's not really a hybrid HMO. It's more of a hybrid buy-to-let. The original name was hybrid HMO. And this is where, as I said, you split the house into 2 rooms and you rent to 2 individual occupants. And they will pay you £1,000, £500 each per month. But you do have to cover the bills like gas, electric, water, Wi-Fi, TV license. Council tax is exempt because it's students. Or you can pass it on to the tenant if it's working professionals, but it will still earn you more than your single buy-to-let. The third strategy is where you split the room into 3, or in this case 4, and you rent the room, or each room, 500, 500, 500, 500. This is now what we call a HMO, which is defined as renting a house to 3 or more unrelated occupants, sharing facilities such as a kitchen or a bathroom. And this is the high earner, the HMO. And then we have the 4th strategy, which is same as a HMO, but a different tenant type. And this is where it gets powerful, because this is called social housing, which has been around for years, but it is the most popular strategy since the Renters' Rights Act was introduced. You're not going to get as much as the HMO, but you are going to get damn close. And this is where it gets very effective. Just watch what happens now to the void analysis. A void is something that we call when our house is empty and we're not getting paid rent. During the refurb process, our house is empty. That's a void period. And since the Renters' Rights Act came in with 2 months' notice, this could increase the number of voids that landlords are getting. So here we go. Strategy number 1, buy to let. If you lose 1 tenant, 1 family in this strategy, you lose 100% of your income. If you lose 1 tenant in the hybrid buy to let, you lose 50% of your income. If you lose 1 tenant in your HMO, you lose 25%, which is still better than your hybrid buy to lets and your buy to let. If you lose 1 tenant in the social housing strategy, You lose 0% because the housing provider or council will pay you regardless of whether your property is full or empty because there's no void periods. And that's why when we're looking at why more landlords and our inquiries and our inbox at JPU is filled with investors saying, I'm not really interested in buy to let anymore. Talk to me more about the social housing strategy. And if I show you a real example, like an actual example of a house that one of our investors bought, this is our deal analyzers that we use inside the JPU. We've got here a 3-bedroom HMO, £130 per person per week in Goole on Edinburgh Street. If you, well, I'll show you first. The net monthly rent is 843. Hopefully you can see that. If I now take away one of those rooms, because it's a void period, look what happens to the net monthly income. We drop down to £364. That wouldn't happen if you're inside a social housing strategy. And that's why at the JPU, we will help you set up your first social housing property. Pros and cons. Pros, no bills, no gas, electric, water, Wi-Fi, TV license, no maintenance and repairs. No, let me clarify. Inside the property, no maintenance and repairs. So I'm talking about all the walls, all the doors, all the kitchen cupboards, etc., etc. The only thing that the landlord is responsible for on our social housing program is the roof, the external walls, and the boiler, which is why we always install a new boiler with a 5-year or 10-year warranty. You will get no voids. So like I said, no matter if they're empty or full, you still get paid. 3-year contracts, you can get them up to 25 years. It's quite rare and the properties are overpriced. With our 3-year contracts, we can buy a below market value property and we can refurbish it, we can add value, we can refinance BRR, and we can put you on a 3-year contract. And you are fully exempt from the Renters' Rights Act. So no 2-month notices. We can still get you your fixed contracts up to 3 years because you have what's called an FRI lease, a fully repairing and insuring lease. Cons. Providers are a pain in the ass. We've spent months getting providers. You can work with the big ones, Mia's, Serco, all the best. Good luck with them. They also have a different type of tenant type. The provider that we work with is for vulnerable, the elderly, the homeless tenants. And there's also a case study that we saw. Someone came to us, they said, I've not had a good experience with social housing. Can you help me out? They bought a property with a housing contract in place. When they bought the property, the housing provider went bust and they were left without anyone in place to replace them. So they've come to us because we work with vetted providers. We look at their accounts, unaudited accounts, make sure they're trading, make sure they've got cash in the bank, make sure they've got years and experience. And if you join JPU, we will help you get set up with that. Finally, the use C3B use class. Another reason why our students are turning to this. So we have what's called in planning, in property, C3 use class. Actually, I'll show you. It'd be much easier if I show you this. So we've got, Grisha, can you go to camera 2 for me, please? We have camera 2. I'll put it on camera 3 also. We've got our floor plan of an actual property that we purchased. Hopefully you can all see that a little bit. I appreciate if you're on mobile, it might be difficult, but hopefully you can see it enough. What we've got here is a 2-bedroom house. There's our first bedroom, there's our second bedroom. The way that we want to do is, as property investors, we want to make sure that we are increasing the number of bedrooms because that means more rental income. Now, if we're inside an Article 4 area, converting a property into a HMO requires planning permission for any size HMO. However, there's the use class C3B, which you can see below here. And that means, well, first and foremost, you want to find properties which has an entrance here and it goes directly up to your staircase. And then you want to build a soothing wall here, and there's your door into the bedroom. What you don't want to do I'll draw it in blue, green. What I don't want to have is the stairs on this side, because then if you were walking in here, you'd then have to build like a weird like hallway, and it would just make this area, this bedroom, much smaller. And we need to make sure that this bedroom hits 6.51 square meters. That means that we then that's what we call bed three. And then this part here becomes our combined kitchen and living area. So we've got this area here. And as long as that meets 16 square meters, we will also meet space requirements, which we did. This is a real example of Chris who bought this property, 5 Marshall Street. So what we would usually have to do is this is C3, and to convert a property into a HMO, it's C4. So that's HMO, and that's family. But in the middle sits C3B. And as long as our tenants are receiving some kind of care, some kind of support, which they would be in social housing, because we're not changing use classes from C3 to C4, we're remaining within the C3 use class to C3B, means that we don't need change of use planning permission. Therefore, we can create HMOs bypassing all of the planning permission laws and all the Article 4 laws, up to 6 bedrooms without planning. After 6, you have 7 bedrooms. That's called a sui generis. It means a use class of their own in Latin. And that means that we do need planning permission, unfortunately. But for a C3B, we can convert up to 6 bedrooms. And that's why our investors are doing this. The next thing I want to discuss is, how do you know if you're inside an Article 4 area? Well, look, this is what the council, these are printed out versions. Camera 2, Greg, please. This is what the council will show you. These are your Article 4 areas. Good luck reading them. They're even more difficult in person. It looks like they've been hand-drawn. And what we do now inside our property investment software at the JPU is we have something where, with a click of a button, watch this. If I zoom out, this is York, where I live in England. Not now, I'm in Thailand. But if I zoom out, and if I click on layers, and I click Article 4, I now get access to all of the live Article 4 areas in any area that I want to invest. So I could zoom into Hull, and I'll be able to see Newland Avenue, Cranbrook Avenue, all of these areas. This is Newland Avenue, got bars, shops, restaurants, pubs, nightclubs, student central. And I would be able to know instantly, without looking at this, on whether I've got an Article 4 area or not. I'll also say one thing. You do not invest in a city. You invest in a zone. So if I go to my choice of place, we invest in Goole in the north, East Riding of Yorkshire, or Hull. If I zoom into Hull, you're looking not for cities, you're looking for key landmarks. So if we draw, for example, University of Hull, we go down towards the MKM Stadium, where Hull just got recently promoted to the Premier League. Great. Across to the Hull Royal Infirmary, which is this red hospital area. Across again to the city centre and back up to Clough Road. Okay, hopefully you can see my map clear enough. Within this square, we have what's called a zone of demand. And that means I can rent to social housing, students, working professionals, families, and I can sell, because I know that properties in that area are always super popular. Now, the issue with that zone of demand, like in Hull and maybe in your area, it's not like every street is a great street. You might see like a super cheap house. The reason with that is that there are terrible streets within this area that you do not want to touch with a barge pole. And that's inside the JPU. We will help you choose the correct street, because you might see a house for £50,000. I wouldn't touch it. Students won't go there. I use the analogy, if I had a daughter, I have a son, but if I ever have a daughter, Would I want to drop her off at that house for university and leave her there? And I can say on some of the streets in Hull, definitely not. Some of the streets, 100%, crack on. But some of the streets, no. So that's my point. Okay. Hope you've all had a good morning so far. We're on to the final part of the presentation before the JPU launch opens. We've got plenty of questions I can see in the chat. I want to talk to you now about something that's me, 80 years old. Hopefully I get to that age. Hopefully I get to longer. I want to live for a long time. I have a fantastic life, fantastic family, and a fantastic team, and I want to live forever. It's one thing learning everything I've said today, and then it's actually a one thing doing it. You can all leave this webinar, crack on, go do whatever you need to do today, and go back to work on a Monday. I'm 31. I live in Thailand. I could retire, but I don't want to retire because I have a fantastic job and I enjoy doing what I do.
Mr. James,
We
it's
don't
very
often
amazing.
open the university, and this is why. We have a group of JPU students who have joined our program, and they have basically changed the way of their income and their life. Point A, Chris joined us with 0 properties. He now has a portfolio of £1.6 million of 10 properties, mixed of, started off with students, Lambert Street, 213 Newland Avenue, Ventnor Street, Alexandra Road. I know all of this because I speak to him on a regular basis. And then he started to go into the social housing. Exmouth Street, Florence Street, Marshall Street are his ones that he's purchased so far. Damien and Hannah, they joined the JPU. They had 0 properties. They've now got 7 properties in 9 months. I've just posted a reel recently, just like an hour ago. I went to go see them in Wales, and they've got buy-to-let properties. And if they're on the call today, they won't mind me saying that their refurbs are unbelievable. I would probably say that Hannah has the eye and Damien runs the operation. We had a question on one of my posts saying, all those in the picture who decided to start, how many got properties and were successful? Genuine question. And Damien replied, all in the South Wales. I 100% recommend James and the team. No bullshit, all factual information. We then had Sean. He came to us with 1 buy-to-let property. He's probably on the call now. Point B, he then decided to go down the buy, refurbish, refinance. He secured a property on Zetland Street. It's an £11,000 refurb, £57,000 purchase, and he's on a 3-year contract with our provider. Sean and Emma, they joined the JPU, 0 properties, and within 7 days, I met these guys in Wales on the same day as Damien and Hannah. They watched the auction module. By the way, me and Kush, we bought our house at auction, so we talk about the whole process of what we need to look for, how you can prepare for auction, and they bought their first property within 7 days. And Demid, he has 3 incomes from 1 property, and you can see the befores and after. What a fantastic job the refurb team did here, by the way. 5 minutes on the doorstep of University of Hull. Point A, 0 properties. Point B, he has a 1 student HMO, and he's now going through the refinancing with our JPM team. And he's mentioned on the comment, thank you for all the support throughout the process. You've certainly given me some gems of ideas. And he actually converted one of this is what the dining room looked like before. And his idea, I'll give him all the credit for this because I was there on him when we were discussing this. I said, no, don't do that. Don't do this. It's going to take up too much room. And he didn't listen to me. And he went and did the co-working space, which he put 2 units here. And he put an amazing desk space in between. That's going to encourage students to stay longer. And of course, look, you can see all the testimonials, you can see all the reviews, you can be watching this, how does this affect me? But essentially, I'm helping people who are 22 years or below. I started when I was 19. These guys also joined the JPU. Kara flew out, he lives in Bangkok, he flew out to Koh Samui to see me. Carla bought the property next door, like I did. I have 2 houses next to each other. She also did the same in Bishop Auckland. Leighton and Gavin, they came to visit because they bought a 5-bedroom HMO on Beach Grove. Ian, Rika, and Matilda, who I had the privilege of meeting, an amazing family. They came and now they've just secured a property on May Street. They're buying their first property, a social housing property after joining JPU. Sanjin on the left, Khalil on the right. Sanjin bought a buy refurbished refinance property on Hardy Street. Khalil bought a property opposite mine on Melbourne Street. And then we've got Carl, completion day, that was on Hardy Street. Sean and Emma and Liam, who gifted me my JPU shirt, which I usually have here, but it's in my other studio, so I don't have it with me, but it's at home in my villa. Prop chat testimonials. So this is our property chat, prop chat. I'm responsible for naming it. I'm quite proud of it. And we have Vikas. Khalil. He said that we're now neighbors. Completed this week. Thank you for your whole team. Vikas. He completed his 4th property since enrolling in the JPU last year. I can officially say I have graduated. Yes, you have. And also a 3rd property as well. And then we had a very nice message come through from Shah, who said that I've recently finished renovating my property. Turned out great. And it's been revalued at £245,000. Thank you for the inspiration, insights from the course. It really helped me on this process. And again, you can go and read all of these messages. So, visited Sean in Liverpool. He's in Wirral. But will you be my next JPU student that I come and visit? First and foremost, guys, I hope you've enjoyed everything. Before I talk to you about the JPU and what we can offer you and help you actually get moving and not stuck and thinking, should I buy? Am I looking at Rightmove and buying the wrong thing? The JPU, well, hopefully you've enjoyed today, but the JPU is expert video lessons on demand, modules covering buy, refurbish, refinance, auctions, flips, social housing, finance and tax, priority community support from myself and my team inside the JPU, full checklists, templates, contracts inside our resource library, live masterclasses like this. You can come and join, you can ask me questions, we'll talk through deal analysis, and you can learn on the go to make sure a deal is make or break. And these are the live masterclasses that we also teach, property deep dives with myself, mortgage myth busting, what's happening in the mortgage world, what are the interest rates, can you refinance before 6 months? You can, by the way. Deal analysis clinics and social media with my wife, Kush, who also teaches. If you join today and you use the code CLINIC20, you will get our clinic bundle, which is 20% off everything in your membership for the JPU on the previous slide that I've just discussed. Plus, as a thank you for joining me today, 48 hours only, you will get access to the Renters' Rights Act course, 5 in-depth lessons, full compliance walkthrough for landlords, letting agents, estate agents, and deal sources. So if you're watching this, how do you stay compliant with the new Renters' Rights Act? How do you advise your own clients on how to be compliant? That's everything covered in there. And 18 done-for-you legal templates to make sure you are compliant. Today, if you join Bachelor, you'll only get access to the live masterclasses and Q&As and access to modules 1 and 3 for £1,095. If you join Master, you'll get live masterclasses and Q&As, access to the whole JPU course, modules 1 to 8, our all-inclusive resource library, which is the checklist, templates, and contracts, priority prop chat community support with myself and my team, and a graduation certificate. If you join PhD for £7,494, you get everything I've just listed above, plus access to pre-market deals, which our property appraisal team is giving us every day, personalized one-to-one mentorship over the course of 12 months, and property consultations with my team of property experts. And if you use Clinic20, Master and PhD drops to 1996 and PhD drops to 5995. 48 hours only, and you will still get the Renters' Rights Act course included in that. An investment, not a cost. So 4 points I want to discuss. £38 a week for your business if you join the Masters course. About the cost of a solicitor, but you actually get, because we always say that a cost of a solicitor is about £1,500, and it's tax deductible with a big asterisk. Now, I'm not a tax advisor, I'm not an accountant, and you should always seek professional advice. But if I pull up the HMRC criteria, most of you watching this may have already invested in property. You may already have a limited company set up. Therefore, if it's an ongoing training that you're having, that is tax deductible through HMRC's eyes. confirm that with your accountant. That's not tax advice. If it's a new business, it's not tax deductible. It's like a capital cost. When we're talking in property about revenue versus capital, for example, if you go and buy, if you go and change the layout of a 2-bed into a 3-bed and you start adding in en suites, you put a new roof, that's a capital cost. You can't deduct that from your end of year corporation tax or your income tax, but you can deduct it from your capital gains tax. If you go put in new windows, if you change the kitchen like for like, if you redecorate and do maintenance and repairs, that comes off your operating costs and you can reduce your corporation tax or your income tax. And it's the same here. Your capital costs you can't deduct, but for ongoing previously set up businesses, then this course is tax deductible. Confirm that with your accountant. And you can also pay in 1, 3, or 6 payment plans. We're out of time. It means that the JPU is going to be live, and that means I can stay behind now. I can answer your questions for 15 minutes, and we can have a Q&A. So a Q&A is live now, and there's 200 seats only. Make sure you use the code CLINIC20 to join our program. So guys, we have Katia also. So if you raise your hand, I will be able to see who's raising their hands on Zoom, and then I will be able to unmute your mic. So hopefully this works. Katia, Katarzyna, I'm about to somehow speak to you. Can you unmute your mic?
Yes, hello, how are you? Good morning. I'm in the pajama, so sorry I will not put the video. Yes. Thank you for having us.
Ask to unmute.
Can you hear me, please?
Sound. Can you hear? Sorry,
Yes.
Katia, I didn't have my sound on. Sorry, I didn't have my sound on. I can hear you now.
Okay, hello, good morning, everyone. How are you? Yes, thank you for having us.
Very good.
Yes, I have a question for you because actually I've been inspired by you because I saw you and your wife, you were a student when you bought first property. At the moment I'm graduating, and I discovered when you get student loan, you are not entitled to take at the moment mortgage. So I would like actually open the limited company and buy first obviously social housing, and I would like to know how actually I can make this one, please. At the moment I'm working part-time at the night shift in Mark and Spencer, and just will be graduated this year. So what are my options, please? Thank you.
A current student at university, like I was when I started,
Yes,
by the way.
yes.
And you also have a job.
Yes, part-time job, yes, in Mark and Spencer. Yes, I'm earning around 1,000 at the moment only.
So in order for you to, that's kind of similar to the way I started. So the way I started, I actually bought my own home. So I was a full-time student, but luckily my course was classed as full-time, but I only had to be in the actual university for 2 days a week, which meant for the remaining days I could have a job. Now, when I bought my own home, I had to prove that I had an income, and that because it was affordability, and they had to scrutinize who I was. I bought a house in Goole. So for you, if you're looking to go not down your own home route first, and you're looking to go down the route of social housing, the way that we can help you is you can, and if you want to go down turnkey, we can help you with turnkey, so you don't have to go and refurbish the property. Or if you go down the route of a buy, refurbish, refinance, first of all, we need to make sure that you have enough of a deposit, so at least 25%. So if you're buying a £100,000 property, have you got the deposit in place of 25,000 plus your stamp duty of 5,000 in that example? But have you got enough savings to invest?
I have,
Because you
yes.
still need money.
Yes.
Yeah. So the way that I would advise you is, do you mind asking me how much you have to invest approximately?
Yes, around 20,000, yes.
20,000. Okay, so you might not have enough for the deposit and a refurb, but you would certainly have enough for a turnkey property. So if you're looking to buy, for example, an £80,000 house or a £100,000 house, you'll just be falling within that bracket where you'll be able to go down the route of investing with a turnkey property. But remember, with the way I started was I had to buy the property first, so I had to finance it with a 25% or 10% if it's with your own home. And then if you are then looking to refurbish, I was refurbishing over the course of 12 months. Have you got your own home?
No.
So if you start with your own home, you'd need less capital in. So for example, if you're buying a £100,000 property, instead of needing a 25% deposit, which is 25,000, you could actually start with a 10% deposit, which is only 10,000. And then you could look
Mm-hmm.
to add value through the refurbishment that way. And then when you sell your own home, providing it's your own principal primary residence, you would actually qualify for capital gains tax relief, so you wouldn't have to pay tax. And that's something that you could do. Have you got any ideas that you would initially begin with that you were thinking of?
Where or with who, please?
Did you have an idea on where you wanted to start?
Yeah, I think
How
as
you,
a
what
whole,
strategy?
yes, I think as a whole, because I realize, when you study this, a lot of actually student actually they got all student loans, so they don't would mind pay high amount for the rent as long as this is nice. And I saw at the whole, the prices are very good, yeah, so quite low.
Yeah, the prices in Hull, if I show you, if I go to here, so we have our rental yields. If you go to property data and you click
Mm-hmm.
HMO, we invest heavily in HU5, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's the top nine
Mm-hmm.
postcodes in for HMOs in the whole of the UK. Um, on a £20,000 budget, you are slightly restricted because if you're looking to recycle and refinance that capital, you will need more because you've got to think about how do I buy the property originally? You could go down the route of a bridging loan, but you would still need a
Mm-hmm.
deposit of at least 25% of the purchase. If we look here actually at, let's have a look. Let's see what Zetland was, because Zetland was a £57,000 purchase. Now he bought it
Hello.
with Sean bought it with cash. Sorry, one second. So here with all of the costs, so he had a wait, just to remove the finance. So without the refurbishment, capital required on a 25% deposit with all the costs was 22,752. But we did have to
Mm-hmm.
then do the refurb, which brought it up to 33. So the total amount that he needed for a £57,000 social housing property was 33,000 in total.
Mm-hmm.
And he got a £77 a week per room, two-bedroom house, 3-year contract, and he's making a net monthly of 387. But he's able to refinance. So by the time he's refinanced, the property's only cost him £12,000 because it will get revalued at around about 85,000. So the property only
Mm-hmm.
costs 12,000.
Perfect.
So he's able to go again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully that gives
Thank you
you a bit of an idea on
a
what you
lot.
can do with your
Thank
capital.
you so
Thank you.
very,
Thank you for the
thank you
question,
so very
Katia. Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Sorry,
Thank you.
as well, but I'm still in pajama. Thank you.
It's early. You're allowed to be. It's only 10 a.m. Do we have any more? Okay, we have ten hands raised. I'm having struggle. Okay, we'll go this one. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce your name right. Uh, Gebamiga, ask to unmute.
Hi, hi, James. You
Hi.
tried.
Who is that?
I'll give you a five. I'll give you a five.
Can you tell me at least what it was?
So it's Bemiga.
Okay.
Yeah,
Birmingham. I won't say it,
yeah,
but I believe you. That's
yeah. But you
fine.
tried. You tried. You tried. That's all right. Okay.
Thank you.
So quick one, right? So for someone looking to get into the property market business for the first time, right? I have some cash to sort of invest, but I'm somehow apprehensive in investing uh, uh, just by myself, right? So I need some guidance around what's the best strategy if I'm going to be investing cash. What's the best strategy? Where would I get the best return on my investment?
Aha. How much cash are we talking?
Circa 200K.
Oh, okay. Good amount. Great amount. So you have options here. You could either go down the route with 200K in Hull. We can purchase four-bedroom HMOs for around about 100 to 150,000 pounds. So that's a good return. Equally, what we could look to do with your income is you have enough to buy a property in cash in Hull, and we also have enough to refurbish it. So we could actually look at potentially two buy, refurbish, refinance projects with your capital. Ideally, we're
Okay.
looking somewhere between £100,000 per property for a buy, refurbish, refinance is more than enough for what we need to be able to recycle your capital. So if I give you some kind of guidance on this,
Okay.
um, let's say you've got We'll buy it in 100% cash. I hope that's going to turn to cash. Okay, here. So here's the budget, £100,000. Let's say we buy you a property here for 70,000. Okay.
Okay.
We would need to put in a stamp duty, solicitors, mortgage fee, valuation, refurb of 25,000, a sourcing fee of 2,500. This is a real example. So
Okay.
we're 4,600 over budget on this 100K.
Okay.
But it's doable. What we would then do, buy it cash. We would put 3 social housing tenants. We'd look to buy. This is a 2-bed. We can convert into a 3 by turning the living room downstairs. This means that we get a total monthly rent of £1,000 a month, which is 12,000 a year, and 36,000 over the 3-year period. You don't have any bills to pay, apart from the management fee of 10%, and therefore you'll get a net monthly rent of £901 per month pre-refinance, which is a 15.4% net capital divided by net income divided by capital invested. Then the best part about this is you could say, okay, that's fine. I'm happy with £901. However, you've invested 104, so it's not really working as best as it could. So we now need to look at the second phase, which is the exit phase, which is when we go to phase 6 on our refinance, which is when we look at the end value. So we make sure that we find you a property that we can increase the value from 85,000 up to 110. It means that you're leaving in the deal on this example 38. Oh no, sorry. This is the wrong thing. We're leaving in the deal at my mouse. So you buy it for 70,000. The end value is 110. You're leaving in the deal 22,000. So the property costs you 22,000. You've refinanced 79% of your own funds, and it's leaving you with £488 net monthly income with a 26% net income, which is better than your pre-refinance. Because now it's all about what you do with it's okay refinancing. So you've invested 104 and you've recycled 82. So you've left in 22. So now you're like, okay, don't leave the 82 in the bank. We now need to make sure that the 82 is working again for another property to build up this rental income on a net monthly. And that's social housing. So that's like guaranteed rental income for 3 years.
Okay.
With us.
And if I'm to do this, how is this something I get in touch with you guys?
You need to join JPU. You need to join JPU. This is your investment into the business. If you want to go from stuck to moving and let me help you, then this is where I can. I can't do everybody. So I give priority to JPU, of course.
Okay. All
Top
right.
man. Thank you for the question.
All right, cheers.
Hope we can work together. Thank you.
Yeah.
So Claire is the next. I think it says Claire on my. No. Sorry, it's not Claire. It's Clienty. Ask to unmute. Hi. Oh, sorry, I might have muted you.
It's okay. Thank you.
Hiya.
So mine will be very quickly. I'm here with my partner following for the last 10 years, almost 8 to 10 years. And we have bought our first property in Hull already. So the only difficulty we face is how we'll get the council to answer us quickly to get us our planning permission and HMO license, because we would like to do it mostly social housing because more safe, as we have seen many of the videos and some other friends that have invested in London. And we have difficulties only to get the replies from the council. All the rest we have found them, and we just did the building survey. The mortgage is in place, LTD company is in place, everything are in place.
So you're asking how to get planning permission?
How to get the council to give us a planning permission quicker, because we have sent 2-3 emails and they haven't even replied at all in Hull.
I see. What's the first line of the postcode? HU5?
Is HU5, yeah.
Wait.
Okay.
1 second.
Have you been
80 Alexander Road.
Which road?
80 Alexander Road.
80 Alexander Road.
Oh, I have a
HU5,
property
yes.
on. I have a
We're
property on
literally,
Alexandra.
we're literally in that corner that has all the shops, the coffees. We're like 15 minutes walking distance by university. So
When
we
did you
have followed
apply?
all the processes. We have seen too many things from you the past years. Thank you very much for being an inspiration to everyone.
Thank you.
The postcode is HU52NT.
Aha. Mine's HU52PD. We're very close.
Nice.
So have you been onto the planning permission portal for Hull City Council, which I'm showing on my screen now?
We have been, yes, and that's the only step we haven't done to do the application.
When did you apply? What day?
We applied 2 months, almost, yeah, 1 to 2 months ago, because we haven't done the exchange yet. We have the building survey level 3. We have everything in place. We have found already our architect to remodel the house from 3 to 5 bed, because it has a huge living room. The whole house is massive. We have huge potential to that one to fix it. We have already our team and the code ready to go. The only difficulty we face is this one, to have the license and planning permission. Otherwise,
How many bedrooms HMO? 4.
it's three the house now, 1 dwelling, and we want to do it 5. We have
so you'll
3
need
toilets.
licensing. Okay.
Yeah, 3 toilets, 2 shower. The toilets will be separate as well, and 5 rooms.
But you haven't completed yet. You're only going through the legal process.
Yes, we haven't completed yet. We haven't done exchange yet.
So look, listen, first and foremost, if it's only been 1 month, it's okay. It will usually take at least 8 to 12 weeks for you to get a decision. Are you dealing, do you know the name of the planning officer? Is it Laura Gibson or someone? Who's the planning officer?
No, they haven't even replied to us yet.
Okay, so you need to ring them
we're-
ASAP. You need to ring them for sure and ask and push them because they are slow. I have a little trick where I say that it's not a good thing, but I never get a decision. I say I'm in financial difficulty and I need an answer because they're so slow, very slow. So just tell them that I need an answer and we're completing on the property. Can you expedite the process? By the way, if it's only been 4 weeks, it's not a problem. But you are going to find it very difficult, being honest, getting a HMO on Alexandra Road. I hope that you do. They're going to check concentration of HMOs on the street. Is it already 50% or more? It might go to a committee meeting, which means that if there's a complaint from the neighbour, if there's a complaint from a Newland Avenue Association, which is a pain in the arse, they always reject HMOs, then the councillors have to refer it to a committee meeting, and therefore it's touch and go, 50-50 whether you will actually get planning permission or not. How else can I help you? I would just ask them to, well, before you complete, have you got a plan B? Because a plan B could be that you give it to social housing. You don't need planning permission.
Yeah, for plan B, social housing have already found two lenders that they can take it for 3 to up to 5 years, and they live in London, so they work now in Hull as well. I tried to get in contact with you many times as well, but it's very difficult nowadays. So I really want to kind of go directly to you and not have one, just go to JPU or something to bypass all this. I don't mind to pay some fees, but I would like to work closely with you, but it's very difficult as well.
Yeah, it is very difficult, and I only work in the JPU, but I appreciate that. But obviously, if we do live clinics like this, I can try and help you as much as we can. But look, Hull is my bread and butter. I know it. I know the planning officers. I know the areas. My advice to you is obviously your plan B is your social housing, which I think actually should be your plan A, to be honest with you. Plan B maybe should be that you get the planning permission and you can convert it into a student HMO for five students and in your 3 bathrooms. I can help you with the letting agencies and everything. Sorry.
I prefer to do it social housing because it's more safe and I have all the options. So what do I need to do it social housing and not HMO? I just need the plan permission, nothing else?
You need to make sure that your property is still compliant as a HMO, so you still need all the fire regulations. So as soon as you go to 3, you need to make sure that you're fireboarding.
We do that. Our property is class C, and we can class D, and we can make it C because we check that with the architect.
Yeah. So you need to make sure you're doing all the HMO regs as you would normally. And then you
Okay.
need to find a housing provider that will take the property on for however many years that you need.
Okay, perfect.
Is it something you can help with that? Like you get involved with that
Yes.
to have? Yes.
Yes. I do this on a daily basis. Not me. Well, me, but my team, Kate and Alex, who are sitting upstairs right now, they do this on a daily basis. So
Okay. So is it we're gonna share us an email or number we can call from next week and
Grisha,
tell them.
look, it's on the screen now. On the screen right now.
Okay.
You can WhatsApp them right now. They're here. They're waiting.
Which one is
And we
it?
can
I
help.
cannot see that on the screen. Sorry, because it's mean your screen is mean. If you can write in the chat, I'll say the number. I'll call them now.
Ah, you can't see my screen. Can you
No, I
see
can
now?
see you for because it was
Yeah.
on the top
Okay.
corner.
So now, okay. Let me take a picture of that.
547.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Great. We took a picture of that, so we'll call your team.
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time.
We'll help you. No worries. No problem. No
We'll
problem.
be partners soon.
Uh-huh. Good stuff.
We see you in Thailand, mate.
Koh Samui, I'll see you there. I think so. Sorry about that. Lugano, sorry.
Okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready for your question. Apologies. I was
Yeah, you good?
bursting.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah. So look, first thing, I followed you for a while there. Okay. So thank you very much. Great explanation. Plain English, easy to understand. Okay. So that's good. Okay. The part I'm based in Ireland, okay, and the part I am missing, or maybe I didn't catch up, okay. I find that all the examples that you have is the people that is in the UK, people that is in there, okay. So did I miss it somewhere, or did you go through maybe for people like me that maybe looking for, will be for obviously for me will be hard to find a property. Okay, the refer I will be relying on you, but that will be my first option will be no refer just because I'm away. Okay, even finding the tenants, letting management. I understand that there's a payment for that, and I have no issue with paying a fee for that. Okay, but I didn't see any example of this. Can you explain what kind
Yeah,
of support you have for that? Is that an
for sure.
option? Is not an option? Or just my general lingo?
Yeah, it's an option for sure. So we do. I showed Chris. He bought 10 properties with us. He lives in Essex in the south. He regularly comes up and he sees his properties, but he also has property consultations with us, and we basically we find, we buy, we refurb, we let, and we refinance his properties from start to finish. We don't invest in places that we don't know. So, for example, we invest heavily in Hull, in the north of England, and in Goole, which is where I started, in that zone of demand that I was talking about. So if you're not worried and bothered, which I don't think you should be, about where your properties are, you just want to see the numbers and you want to make sure that they're well looked after, we can handle, like I said, the sourcing. We'll run through the numbers with you on the calls. We'll make sure that you're happy with the refurbishment quotes with our teams, and we'll make sure that you're happy with the final figures for the rental income. You can go and visit them if you want, or you don't have to. But essentially, we have a service for that can completely take you hands off. And you can actually contact our team to do that now. They're on WhatsApp available. I live in Thailand. By the way, people, one of the biggest fears is not necessarily yourself who's asked the question. Thank you for the question. But for anyone else listening, it's like, I understand that if you don't invest close to where you live, it can be quite like strange, a little bit scary because you don't know the area, you've never visited. I can tell you right now that after seeing my students who live in the south or they live overseas in Saudi, in Dubai, and they come across and they see Hull or they see our area for the first time, after that meeting, they kind of like have this big weight off the shoulders. They breathe out. They actually realize, oh, it's a good place. It's okay. I can see the potential, and I think that that's a really important thing that we encourage. That also, if you want to come across and you want to invest with us, then we will invite you across and we'll show you around the streets, the good streets, the bad streets. As long as you're a client of ours, we will take care of you. We can't do it for everybody, of course. You understand that. But essentially, yeah, we do have a service, long story short, that will help you completely hands off. We will manage the portfolio for you from start to finish.
No, that's good. I'm not allergic. I don't need to see it if the numbers are good. It's more the follow up. It's always something happen there, and it's a fee for that. There's no issue, but I don't have headaches. If I trust whoever looking after that, that's grand, okay? And my last comment, how much do you think is the minimum basically the minimum
50,000.
fund? Second?
50,000.
Okay.
50.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
50,000
you.
is our minimum. Yep, and we will love to help you. So contact the team. Let them speak. They're ready. They're sitting upstairs waiting. So we'll help.
Thank you very much for the session as well, okay?
Thank you. Thank you very. Are you at Northern Ireland or Republic?
Republic. Do you work in
Republic.
the north? Do you work in the Northern Ireland as well? Do you have options
No,
in
we
Northern
have we
Ireland?
have our area in the north of England. But like I said, it doesn't. I live in Thailand. I don't want to see my properties ever again. I'm happy just collecting the rent. I've got lettings management teams, refurb teams. I don't want to see them.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully. Thank you for the question. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we will move on to the next question. Grisha, I can't see on the screen. I can't see on the screen. Oh, I need to show meeting. 2 seconds, guys. Sorry, I can't see. Can't see you. It's going to be K Patel. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Hello, James. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you all loud and clear. Thank
Hello.
you.
Thank you very much for inviting us, and it was really informative webinar. So I've been following you for a long time. I would say 1 year, and we now managed to save £50,000, me and my wife, and we also live in our house, which is obviously on mortgage, and we are very close to Heathrow Airport. So we were planning to invest in the north, but because of the distance, we are quite worried, like which strategy we should go for and what kind of property we should, invest our £50,000 on. So can you advise on that one a little bit? Thank
For
you.
sure. So obviously in the north, can you see my screen okay? Because hopefully you
Yeah,
can
I can see
see.
that.
Super. So you'll notice that there's a few souths creeping in, but most of them is north, 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 Wales, north, all kind of north postcodes. So we invest heavily in the HU5 area. And the reason why we invest there is, as I mentioned on the call, we have like our zone of demand where we have the Uni of Hull, we have the MKM Stadium, we have the hospital, we have the city centre, and then we go back up to Clough Road. So this square here is our like zone of demand. And this is where we heavily invest for our investors and our students and our clients. With your £50,000 investment, if I can give you an example, I would use, for example, maybe this one. This is probably the best one. This is Exmouth. So we were able to buy this property for £85,000. It was a £4,250 in stamp duty, plus your solicitors, your mortgage broker fee, your valuation fee. We had to refurbish this property for 25 because we were converting this from a 2 into a 3. Sourcing fee of 3,000, buying on a 25% bridge or mortgage. A mortgage is ideally used for turnkey, but you could use a bridge. So all in all, we had a capital required of about 57.
Right.
Now,
Okay.
after we had refurbished it, we've now got 3 tenants, social housing tenants, paying £77 per person per week, but there's no bills included in this. So it means that our investor is left with £582 net monthly income. If we then look at the refinance, so after we've refinanced that property, we've able to get a refinance of 110, and the cash left in the deal is about £38,000. So they're getting, obviously what happens here is because you've got a mortgage here, a new mortgage of 413, it means that we need to take that off, including all of our bills. So we get a higher net rental income pre-refinance, but post-refinance, because our house has gone up, we're borrowing more, so our mortgage is going to be more, so it will obviously affect our rental income. So we're getting £488 net monthly, and that's for 3 years. So this is the cumulative rent over a 3-year period is £36,000 a year. So based on your 50,000-ish investment, we would be able to look at properties between 70 to 85,000 pounds, which we can comfortably do in the Hull area. And the type of property that we're looking for is, Grisha, can you go to camera 2? It's the one that I showed earlier with, apologies if you can see this. So it's like the ones where we can convert the living room easily into a bedroom to make sure it's 6.5 square meters. This one. Hopefully you can see that. So that's what we do. Look to convert a 2-bed into a 3, and then we can definitely increase the rental income for you. So 50k investment is our minimum. That's what we know that we can work with as part of our program.
And what do you think about the area in South Wales? Is there any different rules or anything different there?
In South
travel a
Wales or
lot
South
to
West?
Wales. No, South Wales, next to Swansea and all this area.
Yeah. So some of my students invest in Wales. Port Talbot, Newport, they all invest there. Is that because it's easy access for you to get closer to the Wales area?
Yeah. So we have we
Yeah.
do visit a lot, like at least once in a couple of months for sure. So, and we have some relatives live there as well. So we were just thinking.
All I would say, are you looking at like the social housing route or the student route or the working professional route?
To be honest, I'm not sure yet, James.
Okay, I will tell you. You need to look more at the students or the social housing. Social housing is incredible. I discussed it today on the call because of the Renters' Rights Act that coming in. It's hard to find a housing provider that you will be able to work with. My team have spent months trying to get in contact with one that we can actually trust. They only operate in the East Riding of Yorkshire, which is the whole Bridlington, Goole area, like local towns and cities near where we are. So all I would say to you is if you want to just work on your trading company or in your job, get paid your salary, and you want to have that passive income that's working for you and building the wealth, then that's what kind of our service is for. So we're able to take that capital, discuss with you, making sure that you're happy with what we're doing, but also put in the management in place, the refurb, most importantly, the refurb team in place, who's going to actually complete the project on time and within the refurb scope that they give. So if I can show you, I can't show you too much because of like data protection, but let me just show you some kind of refurb scope. Kate, are you on the call? I really want to show something here. Let me show you the refurb. This is what we get given to us. 2 seconds. I've stopped sharing my screen. Kate, can you send it to my WhatsApp, please? Let's see, 2 seconds. See if I can find this one. Refurb. Here we go. Okay, I'll show you this. So I'll go back to share screen. So we get a breakdown from our. Can you see my screen? Okay.
Yeah, I can see that now. Thanks.
Oh, I've just shut it down. Sorry about this, guys. Go back to refurb scope. Refurb. Here we go. Okay, now I can finally share my screen. Grisha, can you help me? Can you turn that off? I want to share my screen. I can't see. I can't see. Can you help me? Maybe here. Share screen. Here we go. So we get given our refurb scope, which is kind of like a breakdown of the electrical works that need doing, the damp remediation, the floors, the waste removal, ceilings. So we can basically handle pretty much everything to make sure that you're happy with the quote before you go ahead. So you've got everything in place and it's broken down like this.
Right. Okay. And is it just for the? It's not like a standard template for the refurbishment, isn't it? Just like one of the property prices that.
Yeah, it depends on what your property needs. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Right.
we will originally, so what we originally do is you tell us your budget, you've got 50K. We will then go ahead and we will look at a property appraisal. We will get an estimated refurbishment. We will send that across to you, make sure that you're happy, and then we will instruct the refurb. So we've got a proper breakdown of what's to come.
Okay. Just the last one. So for the refurbishment cost, is it plus 50,000 plus you have to consider, or it's like it is within 50,000 if you're gonna manage all this, or you're gonna advise me about that?
Yeah, so it goes back to this. So we would have this would include, so the 57,000 includes all of
Or
the
refurbishment as
buying costs. So an 85,000 pound purchase, but you would have a 25% deposit. So
well.
that's basically what you would for an 85K purchase with a 25K refurb, that's how much you would need. 57,000.
Perfect. Right. Thank you so much, James, and thank you
No worries.
to your team as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the question. Thank you. Okay, next question. Grisha, I can't see on my screen who's next. Maybe it's because I have them here. I have lots of questions in my comments and I have view. Can you help me a little bit? Show meeting. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Okay, Patel. Ash G.
Yeah,
Hello.
hi James.
Hello,
Can you
I can
hear
hear
me?
you. Yep.
Yeah, hi. So I'm based in London and I have a residential flat which is leasehold, and I'm thinking to invest up in north, um, around like 25 to 30K budget, max 35. What would you suggest? And I'm also thinking, is there any way I can convert my residential into private limited company if that's an easy route? Because I know selling leasehold flat could be a task, or I could just keep it this one and I can just invest in north. Uh, so would you suggest, like in terms of social housing or any other, how would you help in terms of finding them? Or because I know nothing about how to go about it basically and make it work. So how
So
could
you
you help?
currently, so your current situation is you have a leasehold flat in London,
Mhm.
and you're maybe thinking of converting that into a limited company to rent, potentially.
That's one option, yes. If that would be, and if I want to keep this one.
Okay, that you own that, right? So that's
Mhm.
not really an option for you. I'm going to be black and white because
Yeah.
but well, look, in order to put a property from your personal name into a limited company, you would have to sell it to your limited company, and that would mean that you would pay
Okay.
capital gains tax and you would pay stamp duty.
Stamp duty.
So it's not really the most effective way. So let's just say that you keep your own your own apartment right
Yeah.
now in where you
Yeah.
are, and then you mentioned that you have about 20 to 30K of investment, right? To invest.
Yeah. 30, 35 max. Yeah.
Okay. What I would suggest is that we would look for something if you wanted a return on investment, we would look at something that costs you wouldn't have it. You'd have enough for the deposit for sure in the north of
Yeah.
England, absolutely. So if we look at here an £85,000 purchase price, which is typically your 2 or 3 bed houses, which you could convert into a social housing, you would need a £30,000 capital of required because you'd need stamp duty, solicitors, mortgage fee, valuation, and then your deposit. So you would need about £32,000, which would give you about £582 in net monthly income. But you wouldn't you wouldn't be able to necessarily add value because you'd be buying a property that would be, unless you went for something that was something that we could light refurb, maybe like a 10 or 5 to 10K refurb, we could definitely do. Are you just looking to use that money to make a return rather than sitting in the bank, I guess?
Yes, that's because basically I work for railways, so I think you have used LNER or any train company. So
Yeah,
I do have free travel up north, so I could even travel to Newcastle or
nice.
Yorkshire, anywhere. So I'm thinking maybe it would be worth investing there. But just my only thing is I don't have contacts and I don't know about refurbishment, and I don't want to spend also too much money
Yeah,
just what everything.
yeah,
So yeah, main thing is refurbishment and managing part of it, and also that my budget is maximum up to 30 to 35, without without much
you, you,
like
I
redoing
mean,
or refurbishment.
when did you buy your main home? Was that recently, the apartment,
It's
or was it?
almost like 9-10 years, but it hasn't gone up in
Ah,
value. Yeah,
has it gone up or not?
not much. No, I mean Ealing
Not much.
area, so it's
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Okay, so let's leave the apartment to one side. I don't think we can do much with that, like listening, but you can definitely do something with your capital. I think that you could potentially look at buying some kind of property which is either turnkey, it's ready to go. We could potentially rent it out to a social housing provider, or maybe on a hybrid buy-to-let for students, or potentially finding a property that needed a light refurb. We wouldn't have enough in your situation for a big refurb back to brick, but that's fine. Don't worry, we can still utilize the
yeah,
capital for something. And I think that you would get obviously a better return rather than it just sitting in the bank. So I think that for sure we can help, but don't expect it to be like a buy, refurbish, refinance deal, which would be like recycling large proportions.
yeah.
But we would definitely be able to get you something. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm inclined
Can
towards
you?
social housing. So, what area would you suggest in that budget? Like York is one of them, and apart from York, sorry, Hull. Apart from Hull,
Hull.
what area?
Yeah, well, Hull's cheaper. Like York is quite an expensive part of the north. So Hull, Goole, Bridlington, all the places where we invest, they're the places that I would suggest that you look for sure. But they only work in certain postcodes. So I would suggest, if you want to do this seriously, WhatsApp my team and we can help. But I would look at the HU5 postcode for sure. For sure.
Okay, perfect. Cheers. Thanks, James.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Claire, you were number one on my list, but it wasn't on my Zoom. Hope you're well. Can I hear you? I can't hear you yet. Ask to unmute. Oh, you are unmuted. Claire, can you speak? No, sorry, SM, you're next. I'm gonna mute you. Claire, you're next. Can you hear me? No?
No.
Ah, there we go. Yep. Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Fantastic. I've currently got 2 buy-to-let properties in my own name, and they've got mortgages coming up. Is it something that your team can help with to release some of the funds from those and set up a limited company and get going
Oh,
that way?
I was going to say yes until you said set up the limited company. You mean to transfer them into the limited company, or you're just going
No,
to set up a limited?
well, no, because I've messaged you before and you've kindly responded on Instagram about, that's quite a long process. So I'm feeling that I should release some of the equity from
Equity?
those
Yep.
and start up the limited company and then later on move
Yes.
them across.
Yes. Exactly
Would you
that.
agree that's,
Exactly that.
yeah?
Yes. So I would first and foremost get in contact with the James Property Mortgages team,
Yeah,
jamesproperty.io/mortgages. Let us handle the refinances, and then we can look at seeing what equity we've got, so we can set up your limited company, which we can also
right.
do. And then we can look at the next phase, which is actually investing in what strategy you're interested in.
I'm sort of going towards the social side now.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah,
Just
I
because
agree.
of Well, with the
Yeah.
uni students, the fact that you could end up with a property empty for months because their course is finished or whatever. I feel that
Yeah.
it's, a better long-term option.
Yeah, I agree. Well,
Sorry.
yeah. Okay.
And
So in that
on
case,
your
Claire,
course,
sorry, say again.
yeah, on your courses, because I actually have done it. I haven't completed it, but I'm going to renew so that I can complete the course online. Is there a section about the social fund, the social housing side as well now?
Yes, there's a social housing course that should be available, so you should be able to learn more about that inside the JPU for sure. Yeah, so you'll be able to know
And
everything.
and do you only have social housing contacts in the Hull area, or is it across sort of national?
So social housing providers, there's thousands of them, but there's not many that you can trust. The ones that we can trust
Right.
are only in the Hull area that we've found so far.
Okay.
So that's all I can recommend is the areas that we've looked, honestly, Claire, like we've looked everywhere. Kate
Yeah.
actually said to me, let's give up because I'm sick of this now. It's too many time wasters, too many bad horror stories that we could end up in. And we stuck it
Yeah.
out a little bit longer. We ended up finding a very good provider in Hull, and that's who we work with at the minute. So yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. That's great. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, SM, you're next. Sorry, I had to mute you before.
All right, James. Hi, I'm Sanjay. Just a quick overview. I'm partnering up with one of your students, actually, who's done your masters. So the state we're at the moment is we just incorporated our SPV, and we got roughly, let's say, 50 to 60 k plus. And the problem we're at the moment now is my partner cannot on this location at the moment, and we know the strategy to go to HMO social housing, or I'm quite. We're not written to the person, but we are just not sure in our location or even the strategy. So what do you suggest on that? I'm thinking my research is going to be tailored toward whatever strategy we do, right? So I don't just start looking for houses, when I don't really know what strategy I'm for. But it is, I've done this because you have to remain flexible. There's opportunity. What's your say on that?
Your line's not very good. So you're asking what strategy you need help with?
Yes, yeah, kind of, because we're not sure. My partner, your ex-student, again, he's not sure about that as well, in terms of location as well, and also the strategy.
So the location that I'm obviously big on is Hull, and we can help you with like a demand zone, and it's either going to be one of these three, which is the hybrid buy to let. So depending on your budget, I think you mentioned about 50 to 60, you'd be able to comfortably purchase either a hybrid buy to let, a HMO, or a social housing property. So these are the three areas that I would definitely recommend that you look into. Was I right on the budget of 50 to 60?
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Okay. So based on that, we would need a budget, for example, between 32,000, and then if we're going to go and do like a refurbishment, we'll be up towards like the £43,000. Highly recommend on your budget to do a buy, refurbish, refinance, so that you're looking to recycle as much capital as you possibly can to go and buy another property with. And definitely look into the social housing route, because that's the one of the strategies that's highly exempt from the Renters' Rights Act, because we get our fully repairing and insuring lease. So for sure, that's the way I would look for. Yeah, down the hybrid buy to let, HMO, or social housing route.
Yeah, for that. The max purchase price I'm actually looking for is around 85k. You're reckoning that? Is that right?
Yeah, 85K with an 11K refurb, but if we put up to like something like 20,000, so 85K with a 20K refurb, that's where you're looking. Maybe even pushing to 25. So you want to be around about, but maximum 85K purchase with a 25K refurb, and that's going to find you a two-bedroom house in Hull that we can convert into a three.
And can I ask you, this might be a silly question, why are we capping our purchase price to 85K? Is there any tax benefit or any particular reason?
No, no other reason. No other reason that if you went above this, you'd have to reduce the refurb, but it would become unrealistic. We wouldn't have enough. We would be over the budget. Oh, sorry, 90. We would be touch and go on the 50K. So it depends. The biggest factor is your purchase and your refurb. So if we're able to find properties that which we know we can find properties between 50 and 85,000 pounds that we can convert into a HMO. So that's where I'd be looking for sure.
Awesome. The last question. So your X2 student, I'm guessing you will have some tools. I think he's got quite a few templates of spreadsheets. What are the best templates to use? Because he has got some at the moment. I'm quite overwhelmed with. He sent me three spreadsheets. What one thing you recommend that you use it?
Sorry, can you repeat? It's a very different. Are you on a microphone? Can you unplug, or is it a phone?
It's a headset. So if I do that, can you hear me?
Yep. Say the last question.
My friend, your student, has quite a few templates from you. Which ones to use? Because there are like quite few templates. It's got. Which one would be the best for BRR?
This one, the JPU analyzer, the BRR analyzer. This is the one that they need to use.
Awesome. Thank you, James.
Thank you very much, Victor. Next question.
Hi, James.
Hi, Victor.
Can you hear me? All right, cool.
Yep.
All right, so I'm just gonna put all my questions in one. So just a little bit of background story. I'm an immigrant, so I think this is a like difficult or different sort of question you might be used to. I'm on a skilled worker visa. So you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, so obviously no recourse to public funds and all of that. But I've got money from my home country looking to come into the property market. And what would your advice be in that regard? That's one part of it. Also, obviously as an immigrant, you're starting to build up your credit score and all of that. It's not going to be a problem with getting mortgage. Just to say I put down say a deposit. I've got about 100,000 I can liquidate. I've got some properties back home I could sell. I've got cash I could move across to the UK and stuff like that. But I just want to know what the law says about that sort of peculiar situation, because it's a bit dicey, and obviously I don't want to go against my visa rules and stuff like that. So I just want to know.
Are you able to open a bank account in the UK? You have a bank account here?
Yeah, I do. I've got a bank account.
You do? Okay, that's good. Therefore, that's a good thing, because I know family members who are from countries who they're not able to open bank accounts. So if you're able to open a bank account, that's a good sign. Therefore, you shouldn't really have any issues with opening up a limited company, because the mortgage lender will understand that you're buying a buy-to-let or a HMO property specifically for investing in property, and therefore they will go on the income of what that property earns. And as long as you're from a country that they accept for bank accounts and there's no sanctions, then essentially you should be in a good position where you're able to borrow and finance a property with. And it's a good sign if you said that you've got a bank account, because I know people who had their bank accounts closed, and
So
mortgage lenders won't deal with them. So if you have you got a limited company set up already?
yet for a different business.
But
So
for property.
no, not properties. It's an import export business.
Uh-huh.
So bringing stuff like for the African Caribbean market, like condiments, food stuff and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Like
So
what
as long as you can show where your income, because they'll do AML checks like they do on everybody, and as long as you can show where your income is coming in, and you can prove that it's coming from a legitimate source, and you're not sanctioned by any of the problems that are happening in the world right now, you can open up a bank account. Then getting a buy-to-let mortgage should be relatively, hopefully you can see me, straightforward for you to start investing in property. If you're looking for areas and locations to invest, that's why I'm here. That's where I can help with. And of course, yeah, if you have any specific strategy that I can help you with, then I would be glad to speak that with you. So,
I'm
yeah.
close to all. I've been to all, so I'm very open to the all idea. One quick question also. So, like I said, I already have a limited company that runs a business already, and I've got some sort of profit money coming into that business. I think I've got about 60K of pure profit, thereabout, and I haven't touched that money. It's just there. Is it possible for me to say restructure another company and say if I want to take money from that company to go into property, is it going to be a problem? Or I have to just,
You
like I said,
should, well, first,
it's a different business. It's
uh-huh.
not property. I registered for
Yeah.
property.
Well, first and foremost, always keep your property company separate from trading companies, because lenders don't want to see that you're mixing activity together. So if you've got a food business, don't mix that with your rental income. Make sure they're separate. You can set up a holding company that will allow you to do that. Um, the holding company will allow you to extract profits and pay dividends up to the holding company, and then back down to your uh, SPVs, your special purpose vehicles. My advice to you is if you've got if you've got a trading company already, set up a separate SPV, a property company that will just buy, rent, and or sell or properties only. That's
Cool,
something
cool.
that you need to do next,
It's perfect.
and
Thank you very much.
we can help you with that. By the way, we can help you with
Yeah,
this.
I'll be in contact. Definitely do that. I'll be in contact with you guys now. All right.
We can do it for free, actually,
Okay.
with 3 months accounting. So something you should look into. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your question. Thank you. Okay, guys, I promised I was going to be here for 15 minutes. I've been here for 1 hour. I will answer the next. How many have we got? Oh my God, there's so many. Okay, I'll answer the. Huh? Say again. Next two questions. Grisha's giving me instructions. Victor. Oh, Hannah. 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 Sorry, you're next.
Hi there.
Hi, Hannah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I've got land that I bought in Durham about 3-4 years ago,
Whoa,
and
Dubai.
I haven't been able to find finances to build on that property. It had I had got planning permission to build 2 by 4 bedroom townhouses, but because I couldn't find finance to build on it, because they were saying that you don't have experience, the lenders, so it's just there sitting and doing nothing. And now the planning permission has expired, so I'm stuck now with land that I'm not using. So is there any way I can like use that as security to get to refinance it so that I can buy a property to go into social housing, or maybe sell it and just start afresh.
Where is this land?
In Durham.
Oh, in Durham. I thought you said Dirham. Sorry, in Durham. In Durham.
No,
Oh, Durham's a
Durham.
beautiful place, by the way. I was there like 2 months ago. Um, okay, if you've not got much happening with the Durham land and the planning permission is expired and you haven't already started the planning permission build, then there's an opportunity potentially to get the land valued at today's value and then actually use that money that's stuck in the land and put it into something useful that will give you a return on the investment. That comes with a multitude of factors. How much is the land worth versus what you spent? Of course, roughly, what do you think that the land is going to be worth?
I'm not quite sure. I paid 40,000 for it, and it was all paid cash. It's not on credit or anything.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And is that 40,000 added to a net to if it sells for 40,000, will that be added to any additional savings that you have?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Probably like 10,000 more, 50, like 100,000 pounds more. I'm just trying to understand how much we have so we can help you.
About 15,000.
Okay. Okay. So we're looking about 55. Okay, so that's more than enough to be able to invest in a social housing property in our area. If the land's not doing anything and the planning permissions, could you reapply for the planning, try and get it approved and sell it with planning? That will help increase the value of the land that might get you more income for it.
It could, but there is a backlog of applications for planning permissions. So,
Yeah.
so that put me off as well. Like, how long am I going to be waiting for an application to be processed?
Yeah. Yeah, then it's your decision to weigh up is the waiting worth it or is it worth it? And if it is worth it and the land's going to be worth X amount more because it's got planning, maybe you could sell it on the factor that it had planning but it's lapsed. That would still give an investor confidence to be able to purchase it.
Okay.
I would try and get the planning permission on it and sell it because that would give more attractiveness.
Okay. All right. So if, let's say, I've got the planning permission up, in your experience, how much do you think I can get on top of the 40,000 I bought it from?
No, I can't give you the answer to that. I'm not sure. I don't know it depends what the planning permission is for. It depends, if that planning permission is for one house, okay, it adds this value. If there's 20 houses or a development, then it's another price. So
it was for 2 properties, 2 by 4 bedrooms townhouse. I'm putting you on the spot, am I?
Of course, yeah. Thank you very much. You'd have to. Is there any land available on Rightmove? Have you got any comparables that you like? Why did you buy the land? What were you going to do with it? Were you planning to develop or you build yourself?
Yeah, I was planning to develop.
Okay, and what happened?
It's not in a limited company. So, like I'm saying that they were saying that you don't have experience. And one another lender told me to partner with somebody, but that person was not a straightforward person. So I ended up dropping the partnership.
Okay. Okay. Enough said. Okay, look. You need to find out how much that land is worth. You need to get a RICS chartered surveyor. It's going to cost you about £600, but it's probably going to be a very useful £600 that you're going to spend. And you need to find out how much that land is worth. Option A with planning, option A without planning. And that will give you the decision on whether you want to just sell it without or with. but you need to make a decision because right now it doesn't look like it's that money's doing anything for you. So my first point of contact is to get a surveyor to give you a value on that land.
Okay.
Then
All right.
come back to me.
All right. Definitely, I will.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thank
All the best.
you. All right. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Are there any urgent questions? Because the sun is setting. My wife is angry because I've been on here for too long. And I think I can answer one more question. Everybody else with raised hands, I promise you this. If I don't answer you live, I will answer you through WhatsApp or email. So of course I will be in touch. But can I answer one more? Okay, the most recent is Akumna. Katia says this is the best Saturday morning I've spent for a very long time.
Hi, James, are tied. It's tied. It's a kuna, but that's all right.
Akuna, sorry.
Yeah, thank you so much.
The screen, I can't see because the screen is very far away, so I apologize.
No worries. My video just turned off. Yeah, so a quick one. I know you've mentioned you're more focused around like the north. While I'm in the south, so the southwest area, and that's where I would like to focus. But my concern is, I know you also mentioned your company involved with bridging finance and all of that. So if I'm trying to go into HMOs, say acquiring a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom and turn into a 6-bedroom, 7-bedroom HMO, would with the little capital I've got for say the 25%, would you be able to finance the refurbishment?
Of course, yeah, we can help with the finance. The only thing that I would say is, why are you concentrating on the south? Why?
Well, I can't leave where I am currently because of like all the commitment, family and all the stuff. So, and I would like to be within my investment, if that makes sense. I know the whole idea of buying in the north and not seeing everything, but I'm planning to do this long term. So, doing this as a business and probably in the future developing my own properties. So it's also going to be a learning experience for me, not just investing. I also want to become a developer in the future. So that's why I would like to be closer to my investment.
Why? Why do you want to be close to? I don't want to be anywhere near my investments. I'm serious. I'm not. I never want to see my houses. I used to think so. Why do I want to go and see the houses? I couldn't think of anything worse. I just want to see the rental income hit my bank account every month. Is your postcode on here? Southwest, you said, or south? Where did you say?
Bristol. You could say Bristol, Exeter, thereabout.
Ah,
So I'm
Bristol's actually,
currently,
yeah, Bristol's decent. Yeah,
yeah. So I'm
decent.
targeting Bristol and Exeter because of the potentials, big hospitals, universities. Yeah. But it's just the properties around there are ridiculously high, even Rondon houses compared to the north.
So what's your question? You want to help with finance?
The
We can help with
bridging,
finance.
yes.
Yes, I can help with finance. Yep.
And do I have to join the JPU in order to get the
No.
resource?
You
Okay.
go to jamesproperty.io/mortgages.
Okay. All right.
And we will help
Thank
you. But I just ask you to, before you buy any expensive house in your area, just like, who's going to do the refurb for you? Have you got a team, you think?
I've got a potential team I can partner with.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I've been doing a lot of research, but I've got a team I can partner, but I'm also open to working with or finding other people.
What if I said to you that we could do the full end-to-end service? You would never need
Okay.
to. You can view the property. You can come up and view the area. We'll invite you up. We'll show you around on a one-to-one meeting, not with myself, but with my team. We'll show you around the area. We'll show you the university. We'll show you the streets that work. We'll show you the streets that don't work. We'll show you the houses that we've already invested in and we've already refurbished and we're already getting a return. We'll show you the fact that the purchase prices are significantly cheaper than where you're looking. The refurbishment prices, because of cost of living, will also be cheaper where we are. So you're spending less capital, but the rental income that you're getting is probably going to be the same, maybe a little bit less, but the return in total will be better and you don't need to worry about it because it's fully managed. So you don't need to ever go and fix a leaking tap because we have the maintenance and repairs team up here in the north. Like maybe that's an option that you also want to think about before you commit quite a lot of your savings and income into. I get it. It's scary investing from somewhere that you don't want. But I live in Thailand now, and I don't want to go and see Hull, the last place I want to visit, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I'm happy to discuss all of that. If I see the numbers, I will definitely that would guide me in making my decision. So yeah, I'm
The
open to
numbers
that.
will the numbers will be better. But let's have a chat. The numbers, no, there will be. Let's have a chat. There's no pressure. Have a chat. Go speak to my team on WhatsApp. Let them know that that
Okay.
you've spoken with me. Let them know what your budget is. And if it's for you, great. Let's work together. If not, okay, at least get your refurb team in place. Find a zone of demand, as you mentioned, Bristol. You've looked. I can already hear that you've done your knowledge on what's available in that area.
Mm-hmm.
But I guarantee that you'll be spending less and getting more income if you do this and look a little bit further.
All right, perfect.
But I can tell
Thank
that
you.
you're well researched.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for the question. Mike Wilby, I want to speak to you. I saw you earlier in the call. Can I unmute you? Hang on. Sorry, Mike, 1 second. I need to get my mouse across to you. Unmute. Ask to unmute. Can you unmute?
Are you?
Yep.
Can you hear me
I
now?
can hear you, Mike. Yep.
Fantastic.
How are you?
Yeah.
What's your question?
I'm very good, thank you. The question was, can one get hold of the, first of all, the deal analyzer tool? And secondly, I'd like to find out much more about investing remotely because I live in South Africa and invest in the UK. And I've got some special circumstances which I really need to discuss privately.
Understood. Okay, what I can do for you, Mike, is if you contact this number here, the WhatsApp number, my team will be able to help. I understand if it's private, you don't want to discuss it now, that's great. Let them know what time's available, but importantly, how much capital that you have available so that we can pre-qualify and make sure that you're okay, and then we can discuss more circumstances later. As for the deal analyzer, that deal analyzer is behind a paywall called the JPU. But if it's something that you're looking to invest in the UK, Mike, I don't think that we can do all of the analysis, but essentially if you speak to my team, we'll be able to point you in the right direction for sure. And I appreciate that you don't want to
Well,
speak.
that's great. Yeah, that's great.
Have you got properties in the UK, Mike, already?
I have indeed.
Brilliant.
9.
Limited company or personal name?
They're all in personal names, unfortunately.
Understood. Okay, let's help you, Mike. Yeah, reach out to my team. They'll be available for you for sure. Thank you, Mike.
Great. Thank you very much, and it's a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I saw you early on in the call, so I appreciate it. Okay, Cam. Cam, you are the last person. I will answer because it's getting past. So hopefully, I can give
Hi,
you some
James.
advice. Hello.
Hi, yeah. So just a quick question then. If you got I've got a large sum of money, so anything between 100 and 120k, but poor credit. How does that work in terms of setting up a limited company? and obviously, and then applying for finance.
Okay,
Can it
so
work?
first question, limited company, not a problem. We can help you set up limited company wise. Finance wise, okay, there's a few hiccups, poor credit history. We will introduce you to lenders with a common sense approach. If you've got CCJs, if you've got other issues on there, it's, you know, part and parcel of life, unfortunately, sometimes. The rates, I have to let you know, the rates might be slightly higher, but it's not a straight flat no. We just need to understand that ideally you've got a permanent address, so we can prove your address, we can prove your income. As long as you can prove that, I'm sure that we can help in some way. But if you want to reach out again to the team, they will be able to get you finance. Are you looking at buy-to-lets, HMOs? What are you thinking? What's your plan?
Well, the BRR strategy. However, I know you
Uh-huh.
talk about social
Yep.
housing, but is social housing always available or not necessarily?
Well, there's two types of social housing. The first type is, can I get there's companies out there, we don't do this. There's companies who sell 25-year contracts. Sounds great, 25-year CPI linked, so index linked. So it means that it will go up 1%. Your rental income will increase 1% per year in line with the index. But the houses that they will sell you with a 25-year contract in place are usually overpriced. It means that you're buying a £100,000 house for 150,000 because they're valuing that commercial 25-year contract as, let's say, £50,000. That's not the true figures, but they overinflate prices. The other way that we work is we buy houses below market value, we refurbish them, we refinance them, and we get you a rental social housing contract. It's not 25 years, but it's at least 3 years contracts, which is 3 more years than you would get renting to a family because of the Renters' Rights Act. And likely because my best friend works in the social housing industry, and he tells me that the waiting lists are so large for the type of tenant that we work with, elderly, homelessness, mental health, then they're always going to renew. So there's obviously a high chance that if we give them good quality housing, which we have done so far, they will always renew. So I would always go down the route of buying below market value, refurbishing to add value. You've got a good amount of capital to invest, and then we could look to refinance whilst also getting you a long-term 3-year contract in place.
Brilliant, because I'd like to do this with my young 18-year-old godson, and love for him to learn all the ways to be successful, while he's got a young mind and everything, and so he can apply these principles.
Sure. Yeah, it's the best time. I was 19 when I started. I'm 31 now. I've been doing this for over 10 years, and I have a son of my own, and he's also going to learn the entrepreneurial way. So I have big respect for you for also doing that for your godson. So, yeah.
Wonderful. And the last thing I'd like to say is we all know that there's many other people out there doing the same thing, but you come across as so genuine and obviously an expert in the field. So that's a credit to yourself and your team.
Thank you. Thank you, Cam. Appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
And
Thank you.
hopefully we can help you. Cheers. Thank you, Cam.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Actually, I said Cam was the last, but we only have one raised hand left because after I said that, the hands went down. So let me answer the last one. It's from Kunle. Oh, Shelby, you've just raised your hand. That's not fair. Okay, Kunle, Kunle. Can I ask
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
Yeah, James. A quick one because you look tired already.
Yep.
I'm currently an international student in Huddersfield, but I've been following for some years now. So my thing is, I'll finish my course by September, and hopefully I need to start my postgraduate. That's 2 years. I'll be on 2 years, and so after that, hopefully I want to set up my company, then start my investment in property. So my concern now is, how long will it take me to start living on property investment? I mean, I don't know. With a budget of £80,000 with me now, because I have property in my home country already. but UK, it's a new ball game for me. So I'm learning how will I be able to start living on property investment?
Can you open a bank account in England?
I have a bank account already. I have like 2 bank accounts. I have with NatWest and I have with
No, it's okay. No, I don't need to know who. It's just that I know that if you the genuine rule of thumb is if you can't open a bank account, it's hard for you to lend because there's nowhere for them to put the money or take the rent. So if you can open a bank account, it's a good chance that you can open a limited company to invest. Have you got capital to invest? Money
Of
available?
course, yes, I have capital to invest already.
Okay, how much?
I have like 80,000 with me in my account
Okay.
now.
Okay, that's a good amount. We genuinely take clients on who've got a minimum of 50K. So if you've got 80K, there's definitely room for us to work with you. So, how long's your visa? When does your visa end?
Yeah, I'll finish my master by September. So I'll be on postgraduate. That's 2 years by this November.
Okay. And the postgraduate's 2 years.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's speak to my team. Let's see if we can help. Let's see if we can get you up and running. I showed some previous, I don't know if you saw the deal analysis before, but I was able to show some kind of like what we're able to do for people with budgets of 100K. We can definitely get your money working for you. So get in contact with my team. We can help.
Okay. Thank you so much for now.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Okay, last two. They have to be quick, like super quick, because my wife's ringing. Hello?
Hi.
Last two questions, Shobi and Ryan.
Hi, James.
Hi.
Thank you for the opportunity. So I am considering investing into the property market, and I wanted to partner with my mom actually, and we were thinking at a budget of 75K. And I know you've shown a few portfolios in your presentation already. So how long does the process take let's say if we go ahead with you guys, how long would the process take, the refurbishment, and for us to see first profits?
So we usually work on 4 weeks to acquire, so 4 weeks to find and buy all the legals, 4 weeks to refurb, and then 4 weeks to refinance. So we're looking at about 3 months.
3 months. Okay.
Well, about 90 days. That's what we usually work on. You mentioned 75K. Is that the purchase price?
In total, it would be in. So yeah, but I would love to discuss as well what other options there would be. What would be the most profitable investment? I'll probably speak to your team about it later. And also, can I ask you, when it comes to the limited company, I presume you can have a director and you can have other people attached into it, right?
Yeah, so with a limited company, you've got directors and you've got shareholders. So you could technically be a director, but you could not be a shareholder. And that would mean that the shareholder actually has much more power over you as the director. Why are you asking that? Are you looking for some kind of certain shares, a specific structure?
Yeah, so we were thinking of doing it as a family, to be honest. And it would just help with the deposit as well. So in long term, it's going to be a long-term thing. So that's why.
So lenders will only really want to assess you if you have more than 25% share. That's what's called as a person with significant control. So if you've got less than 25%, they're not really gonna potentially look at who you are as an individual. So just something to consider. Yeah, for sure. But 75K, yep, that's what we can help with. Absolutely, we can get you something profitable within that budget, for sure.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time, James.
Thank you, Shelby. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Super. Okay, Ryan, you've disappeared. So that means that this is the end of the property clinic. I hope you've enjoyed something. I hope something was taken away from today. We've been live on Instagram. We've been live on Property Clinic, on the webinar on Zoom. So thank you all for joining. All the thumbs up. Thank you so much. That's really nice to see. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Of course, the JPU is open. We have 48 hours to use Clinic 20. That will give you access to the full James Property University membership and also access to our Renters' Rights Act course. Big love to you all. I'm going to go now and enjoy the sunset with my team and my beautiful family. My wife's angry because I'm not there already. I love you all. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks, guys. Cheers.